Okay, good evening, folks, and welcome to our update on the evening of the 26th of March, following on from the Chancellor's announcement for support for the self-employed. This was the big one, right? This is the one everyone's getting excited about, and I'm going to start with the bad news. If you run a limited company, so if you're the director, shareholder of a limited company, then there was literally nothing in this announcement for you. It doesn't apply to you. If you go back to the first video I think I did, where we talked about this potential package for the self-employed, and I said I was worried then that the government's definition of self-employed is different to the majority of the workforce who class themselves as self-employed but don't file those important sole trader or partnership sections of the tax return. And the support that they've announced today is purely based on sole traders and partnerships. So if you run a limited company and you take a small salary and dividends, I'm going to do a separate video for what support is available to you guys, but it's not much, and the rest of this video does not apply to you. However, if you are a sole trader business or in a partnership that's not incorporated, then what was announced this evening is going to be very helpful to you. So if you're as long as you've been in business pre 5th of April 2019, that's the killer question here. So if you're brand new self-employed and you haven't filed a tax return yet because you started in the year 6th of April 19 to now, then this support doesn't catch you, which is I can see why they've done it. It's to stop everyone, quickly registering as self-employed for this tax year, filing a tax return and claiming back some grants. So it's a bit of anti-avoidance, but it does scupper anyone that genuinely started as self-employed in this tax year. But assuming you've been self-employed for a while and you filed your tax return up to the 5th of April 19, then basically, depending on how many returns you filed previous to that, the government are going to take an average of at least the last 3 returns that you filed. If you've only filed 2 in that 3-year period, then they'll take an average of those 2. So they're going to take an average of your profits, assuming you don't make more than £50,000 of profits. So if you've only filed it, if it's based on one tax return, then obviously that profit needs to be less than 50,000. If it's across 3 tax returns, then the average profit needs to be less than 50,000. And this is the taxable profit, not the profit that will be shown in your account. So again, this is the profit after we've taken off things like capital allowances for kit and equipment that you've bought. So it's more complicated than it looks on paper. However, assuming you qualify, and here's an important point, assuming you are still trading in this current tax year and you're expecting to continue to trade in the following tax year. So if you've just set up a limited company and you're moving your sole trade business into that, then you may want to consider how you continue some element of sole trade business in order to make sure you tick these boxes. But assuming you're in that position, so sole trader, partnership, profits of no more than 50,000 on average for the last 3 years, and filed a tax return for the year to 5th of April 19 and earlier, then the government are going to work out from that an average monthly profit based on your tax return, and you're going to get a grant of 80% of that profit for the 3 months, March, April and May, and it's going to be paid in one lump sum in June. So that's really good news if you're one of the people that this catches. What do we need to talk about in terms of the process? So HMRC are going to be sort of administering this scheme. They already have all the information because it's based in your tax returns, and the government have told us not to apply. You'll be invited to apply. So HMRC know if you're eligible or not. They will email you or write to you, invite you to apply, and then you go through the process. You tick a box to say that the COVID-19 outbreak has affected your business, and then they will pay you the lump sum grant in June. Now, that's great. Obviously, you need to have the cash flow to get you to June. However, unlike the support for furloughed employees where they can't work and claim the grant, interestingly, the Chancellor announced that you can continue to work as a self-employed person and claim this grant, which I kind of understand it's because the cash flow is going to be tricky. They need you to, if you can, be out there working so that you can then still be in business to claim the grant once it comes through in June. So that's the support for self-employed people in a nutshell. Like I said, it's a kick in the nuts for people that own companies, and we'll come back to how we can kind of work some support out for them. But if you're a sole trader, then basically sit tight, wait for HMRC to write to you, apply for the grant, and get 3 months lump sum of, based on 80% of your average profit. Okay.